Watch. I'm gonna put on my video. I'm gonna watch.
There is sad news to report this afternoon. Grayson Murray, who won the Sony Open in Hawaii just this past January, has died at the age of 30. Details of his passing aren't yet known. When Murray won in Honolulu this year, it was a dramatic story. He had been open about his struggles with alcoholism and anxiety, saying he had hoped he would be able to inspire people going forward. This statement moments ago from PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan. PGA Tour membership, we were devastated to learn and are heartbroken to share that Grayson Murray passed away this morning. I'm at a loss for words. The PGA Tour is a family, and when you lose a member of your family, you're never the same. There is nothing we can do, but we mourn Grayson and pray for comfort for his loved ones. I reached out to Grayson's parents to offer our deepest condolences, and during that conversation, they asked that we continue with tournament play. They were adamant that Grayson would want us to do so. As difficult as it will be, we want to respect their wishes. No one should go through a crisis alone. PGA Tour has grief counselors available at both tournament sites as well as virtually. For those not in the field, please reach out to Andy Levinson for additional details. I am en route to Fort Worth and will share more information when we can. That from Jay Monahan.
Where am I going? I have no idea where I'm going.
You have to go to the police station.
What address is that?
It's 5 minutes away. It's 5 minutes away.
What's the address of the police precinct?
When you will get your next show, we have to do it very fast. And we will help, but...
You're talking about my show?
Yes.
What about it?
Yeah. We talk...
They will help to try to get you there.
They'll help to try to get me to my show? How?
Very quickly.
To do it as soon as possible. But
what am I doing? What am I doing? I never gave anyone... So I'm under arrest?
Yes.
But
yes.
Under arrest for what?
Stop filming now.
I'm under arrest for what? Do you know what happened when I came here?
Go inside.
Huh? What you said?
Can you please stop filming? Just step in the car first.
No, I need a lawyer, because I don't know where I'm going.
You will get a lawyer at the office. You can contact the lawyer, but if you just step in the car, then it will go as fast as possible.
And who's going in this vehicle?
He will go with you.
Digital IDs and to establish the Australian Government Digital ID System. And for related purposes, those opinions say aye, against no, I think the ayes have it.
And just like that, we've got digital IDs, and it is going to bother you, because you're human.
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human, still. But I was just referring to myself in the past.
you remember no job, no travel, right? Well, digital IDs have just passed. It's right there on the government website. It's coming to fruition. They tried really hard bringing these digital IDs to us while we were locked down, just so that we could fight to be free, just so that they could bring back digital IDs to lock us down again. Look at what it says on the government website now. Digital ID for the right to work. Digital ID for the right to rent. You no longer have the right to work or rent unless you get their digital ID. And with digital currency, it'll be 24/7 lockdowns for people like us. And that's the point. But it's going to get much worse because there's something else coming.
Because there is no job, machine robot is taking over.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. You don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, how do you, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless?
What's the point of these useless eaters if we've got all of these robots? That's what they're thinking. Now watch as Elon tries to educate the elites on an idea of a universal basic income. It's amazing.
And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income, I think it's going to...
Look at that face. Does he look impressed? Do you think he's ready to part with his money so that you can eat for free?
It's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine robot is taking over.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that...
Exactly. There'll be fewer and fewer jobs as they roll out more and more robots. And guess what they're doing right now? They are mass producing robots like new cars, run by AI, better than ChatGPT.
They are mass producing robots like new cars, run by AI, better than ChatGPT.
An invasion is coming. They're coming for your jobs, and then they're going to replace you. That's the real replacement. And it's going to mean extermination. Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. It was right there on the Georgia Guidestones before they blew up the evidence.
Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. It was right there on the Georgia Guidestones before they blew up the evidence.
Guys hoping new video will help them nail down the person responsible for blowing up the Georgia Guidestones. Check it out. The GBI says this video shows a person leaving an explosive device at the structure and then running away. We circled them for you so you can see that person going in and then running right back out a little bit later. This morning, the Elbert County District Attorney is promising to prosecute whoever caused this drastic scene here, blowing up the Guidestones. The prosecutor says whoever is behind this, they say they're going to catch them for sure. Now, we do understand only one portion was damaged on Wednesday, but they had to demolish the whole thing because of safety.
Understand only one portion was damaged on Wednesday, but they had to demolish the whole thing. Understand only one portion was damaged on Wednesday, but they had to demolish the whole thing.
It's a shooting on 17th Street.
17 to 1.
7, I don't know where the hookah lounge is.
Hookah lounge? Is anybody here?
Yes.
Okay, what city?
Two people shot.
What city?
Huh?
What?
Sarasota.
Survey Road.
17th and Kettle.
Okay, and what's the phone number you're calling me from?
Copy what? It says trade.
What's the phone number you're calling me from? Okay. Stay in the line with me. Tell me exactly.
Oh my God.
Can you tell me exactly what happened?
It was a shooting. Come on.
Okay. You said there's 2 victims?
Yes, it's 2 victims. him.
Are you safe and out of danger?
Yes, hurry up, come.
What type of gun was used?
Phone, iPhone.
What type of gun was used?
I don't know what type of gun was used.
Okay.
Please hurry up and come.
I already have units on the way. Stay on the line with me. Where is the suspect?
They're in front of the plaza, in front of Central Business Solutions.
Are they still shooting?
No, they're done. Hurry up.
Okay, are they in a vehicle?
No, they're outside on the ground. Get away.
Stay on the line with me. The suspect who was shooting.
I don't know.
Okay.
Just come.
Okay, ma'am, I can't give you any instructions because we don't know who was shooting.
Just come.
Ma'am, I have units. I have multiple.
Yes, he's still breathing. He's still breathing. Yes, he's still breathing.
I need you to listen to me for a moment. Where who was shooting?
I don't know.
Did you see them?
No. Hurry up, just come.
Ma'am, I have multiple units.
Hurry up. Just come. I don't know who's shooting. I don't know who's shooting.
Did anybody see who shot?
I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Did anybody see who was shooting?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Stay on the line with me.
Oh, hurry up.
Ma'am, I have units. Okay.
We need the ambulance, not the police. Just hurry up.
The police are there to secure the scene and then secure the suspect.
Oh my God.
Stay on the line.
What did you say?
What is your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
My name is...
For me?
Huh?
Spell that for me. Okay.
Green. I think he's 21.
Auburn fans are sending well wishes to running back Brian Batti as he and his brother fell victim to a shootout in Florida this weekend. The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office confirmed Brian's brother Tommy Batti was killed Saturday morning in the shooting. Sources tell CBS Sports that Brian was also injured in that fatal shooting and remains currently in critical condition. No arrests have been made.
Auburn running back and former USF player Brian Batti is fighting for his life tonight. He was injured in a shooting that deputies say left his brother dead and 3 others hospitalized in Sarasota. It happened early Saturday morning at the Tallywood Center Plaza on 17th Street in Sarasota County. News Channel 8's Nicole Rogers joins us. She's in Sarasota, where I understand Batti's cousin just finished. He was talking to the city commission meeting.
Stacey, he did, and one of the main things that he was speaking on was that this is an unimaginable loss, not only for his family, but for the entire Sarasota County community. Out of these 5 victims, we know so far that 2 were beloved brothers in this area, both on and off the field. From Sarasota High School to the University of South Florida, here's a look back at December of 2019 when Brian Batti was just a running back recruit committed to playing at USF.
My first conversations with Coach Scott was that he laid it out to me.
Then Batti took on Auburn University and became the team's top kick returner last season. Brian has fought hard at every level of football he's played, but now he's fighting for his life after a shooting deputies say left his brother Tommy Batti dead and 3 others hospitalized. Auburn University head football coach Hugh Freeze responded to the news with a post on X Monday. He's asking the Auburn community to pray for Brian, saying, quote, "There was a setback last night and he's still on a ventilator." Tommy and Brian's cousin, Sarasota City Commissioner Kyle Batti, spoke out on the tragedy in Monday's public meeting, saying the support has been overwhelming.
The hospital lobby was packed yesterday, so much so that they had to get security to kind of ask people to sort of get out of the lobby and filter outside. You know, it just shows the amount of love and support, you know, for our family and for those young men.
Kyle Batti also spoke on how gun violence is impacting our community here in Sarasota County. We'll have more on that coming up on News Channel 8 tonight. Stacey.
What a tragedy. Nicole, do we know it?
This man right here, Daryl Bookins, is accused of shooting Auburn football player Brian Batti and killing his brother Tommy.
And this just into the newsroom within the last half hour. Surveillance video from early Sunday morning in the Tallywood Center Plaza. You can see a large group of people in the parking lot. Now, there's no sounds this video, but you can see the moment that shots are fired. In the area, people begin to scatter.
Tommy, a high school football standout, died at the scene. Brian remains in an Alabama hospital on a ventilator. He spent 3 seasons at the University of South Florida before transferring. And in Tampa Bay's Adure Chumba is live for us from the Plaza parking lot.
And Adure, deputies say that the Batti brothers, they approached the man and got into a shootout.
That's correct. The newly released crime report from the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office indicates surveillance video showing who they believe was the suspect, 28-year-old Daryl Brookins. Now, they say he was leaning against a window of one of the businesses here. Now, they also say surveillance video shows Tommy and Brian Batti also walking towards Brookins. And this happened around 3:30 a.m. It is at this time they also say that they see Brookins suddenly pulling out a firearm and he starts shooting at the brothers, who then return fire. They say at this point Brian Batti hits the ground and falls, or rather is hit and he falls to the ground, and his brother Tommy followed and later died of his injuries. Investigators say Brookins then ran off, leaving his vehicle at the crime scene. Like I say, they were able to use information linked to the car to connect Brookins to the shooting, and they matched his driver's license as well as social media photos with the surveillance footage. Now, records also showed Brookins had 4 prior felony convictions, and authorities say because of those convictions, he wasn't even supposed to have a firearm in the first place. Now, surviving brother Brian Batti spent 3 seasons at University of South Florida before transferring to Auburn. Now, he remains in the hospital with critical injuries and is now fighting for his life.
Stefan Marinov was the leader of the European free energy movement. In 1997, he made tremendous strides in the technology. Before he could develop his first prototype, he fell out of a window. Dr. John Mullen, a nuclear physicist, used to work for McDonnell Douglas, one of the largest military contractors in the world. He died of arsenic poisoning in 2004. His girlfriend was originally a suspect, but she was found dead in her apartment shortly after. There are no more suspects, there is no investigation, there will be no trial. Dmitry Petronov invented a plasma battery that powered his home for 14 months. In 2010, he went to a bakery and was never seen again. Zachary Warfield was another inventor who developed his own plasma battery. Warfield visited Petronov to exchange information. That same year, Warfield died in a strange boating accident in Washington, D.C. Eugene Malov was a physicist and expert in cold fusion. He claimed he had a working prototype of a free energy device. In 2004, the day before he was to make a public announcement about his findings, he was beaten to death. Ari Dagos actually patented free energy technology based on the zero-point field. In 2007, he was about to get on a flight to meet investors who were going to fund his research. He was found dead in his car at the airport. Rory Johnson created a cold fusion laser-activated magnetic motor that generated over 500 horsepower. He planned a public demonstration of 4 vehicles equipped with this magnetron motor. The U.S. Department of Energy placed a restraining order on this technology, preventing publication. And though in excellent health, he died unexpectedly soon after. Mark Tomian, a physicist, patented technology called a star drive, which uses zero-point energy, very similar to the ARV. In 2009, he developed a working prototype. Shortly after, he died from an unexpected cardiac event. His research is missing. Stan Myers developed a working engine that ran on water. In 1997, he died from what was officially reported as a cerebral hemorrhage. This happened while having lunch with 2 potential investors. His last words were, "I was poisoned." And remember I said that most of this episode comes from a documentary created by James Allen? He ruffled a lot of feathers doing his research, specifically at Lockheed Martin.
And so, I'm kind of mystified as why a lot more people haven't picked up on this and really and sort of hammered on Lockheed or Grumman or whoever to say, are you guys really doing this? I actually called a spokesman at Lockheed and asked her straight up,
I'm like, so what's going on with your electrogravitics program? And she's like, well, we're not at liberty to discuss those programs. And I'm like, really, why not? She's like, well, it might threaten our competitive advantage. And I really wish I'd gotten that on film or tape. Because my next documentary, Tom, are you listening? I want to do a sort of a investigative documentary on specifically on anti-gravity in the aerospace industry.
Oh, I can't wait to see that new documentary. This kid is a hero. Was a hero. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. While still editing the film before it was even released, James Allen was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer. He was dead in 3 months. I'm so angry right now. That interview clip I showed was from 6 weeks before his cancer diagnosis. Did he look sick to you? No, he did not. Autopsy results revealed an unbelievably aggressive tumor that usually occurs in patients with cancer for years, not weeks. And his blood contained 12 heavy metals and radioisotopes at toxic levels. Manganese, beryllium, thorium, and uranium were found in his blood. James Allen never got to see his documentary released. And his next film, which would expose anti-gravity technology being pursued by military contractors, now, that would never happen. This is a bunch of these government companies doing it. When are we going to stand up and something about these? Yeah, I know. Even Mark McCandlish was afraid.
You actually heard a couple different stories about people being shut down when they're trying to implement this. Or killed. Yeah. I mean, there's many times I lay awake at night with my 9mm under my pillow, loaded, and I wonder why they haven't killed me. No, I honestly did.
All came into its real birth.
I had it in my own son.
You had sex with your own son?
Own son, yeah.
How did it happen?
Oh, sometimes I post on my WhatsApp status that I feel like I miss my ex-girls. I feel like going back to any of them to, have sex with them. Say, mommy, in fact, I'll use me as a vibrator. I have the real vibrator. I say, hey, wow. And what is your real vibrator? The natural vibrator. That is the tennis. And that was when I realized that my son is not that old, but he has a big...
He has a big thing?
Yeah.
So how long was that session?
Oh, it was just once. But he has been calling me and telling me, oh, mommy, I've missed you, so anytime you need me, I can come and make you happy.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, I did enjoy it.
You did enjoy it?
Yeah.
You missed, that feeling?
But he's my son, so I can't continue.
You can't continue having sex with him. But was he able to do it to the point where...
Oh, he was able to satisfy me.
He was able to satisfy
But he's my son, so...
So you can't continue having sex with him.
But anytime I feel like having sex, then I invite him.
We will have sex with you.
Yeah.
Is it something you...
For now that there's no man in my life, yeah, my son is there to make me happy.
There's no man in my life, yeah, my son is there to make me happy.
Something good real quick. I ain't gonna kill no old ass man. Hold on. Nigga, I'm walking through this bitch with it on me, nigga. I'm going out with a bang, nigga. Baby, watch. 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 Fuck, nothing but old men over there. Hold on real quick. One. I see one. I see one. I see one. Bitch, nigga.
It was storming pretty bad. The rain was coming down in sheets. I pulled into a parking lot at my synagogue. We're late. I told my 4-year-old, Jeremy, to get out and run to the door. Wait there and I'll bring your brother. So Jeremy got out and ran to the door. I climbed over the seat to get Andy, my 2-year-old, out of his car seat. And I grabbed my umbrella. I put him down and I held his hand. We took a few steps and it actually went through my head. Oh, well, this is stupid. My wedding ring was touching the shaft of the umbrella, and I remember thinking, just let go of the umbrella. But before I could even do that, there was a bolt of lightning touched the top of the umbrella, and that was it. I was dead. But I didn't know it. I was still very conscious and very aware of everything going on. Jeremy and Andy were both screaming. Andy had his hands to his ears because it burst his eardrums, and he was in a lot of pain. So Jeremy ran back out toward us, and I was thinking, I'm so mad at him. I told him to stay at the building. What is he doing? And he ran over to us, and he grabbed his brother and started pulling him to the building. And I'm like, this is weird. This is strange. But I followed them, and we went into the lobby of the building. And there was a man walking by. He came over, and he was trying to figure out what was going on. Why are they standing here screaming? My thought was, why is he ignoring me? Why is he talking to them and not to me? And then, like in the next second, I thought, where's my umbrella? So I looked out the window. Sure enough, there was my umbrella in the parking lot. I looked to the right, about 20 feet from the umbrella. I saw me on the ground. It was just so disorienting. I mean, you have to understand, when I say I was a skeptic before this happened to me, I never would have made fun of anyone to their face, but I definitely thought this was a bunch of BS. That can't happen. That is not reality. And yet here I was. I knew I was in the building, and I saw myself out in the parking lot. I thought, oh no, I was wearing new shoes that had been very expensive. I could see myself in the parking lot, and I saw that the soles of the shoes were burned off. I saw my feet sticking out. So I looked down in the lobby, and the shoes were fine. They were perfect. They were on my feet, except I was floating about this high above the ground. I was not standing on the ground. As soon as I thought I'd want to go out there and look at myself, I was there looking down at myself. And I'm like willing myself to get up. I kept saying, get up, get up. You're ruining your outfit. You've already destroyed the shoes. Now get up. You're lying in a grease puddle. Then it just hit me suddenly. Oh, wait, I can't get up. I'm dead. I'm still completely conscious and aware. In fact, even more conscious and more aware than I was when my body was alive. Then this light appeared to my right and up a little bit. It was alive. This light had consciousness. It wanted me to follow it. So I thought, well, okay, I'll follow it and I'll see what this is. The light led me to this garden, and it's not a garden like anything here on earth. The plants were different. The flowers were blossoming, just exploding with color. It's so frustrating because the words just don't exist here. This overwhelming, unconditional love that existed there for me. I'm a mom. I have children. I love them unconditionally. But this was so different. It was so much bigger and stronger, more powerful and deeper. And I don't want to minimize how I feel about my own children, because I do feel that way about them, but this was different. And there was a bench, and a voice told me to sit on the bench. It was the voice of my grandfather, who we had been at services to hear his name read because he was dead. And I knew it was his voice. He had a heavy French accent. I mean, I know his voice. And he told me to sit down. And by golly, when your dead grandfather tells you to sit, you sit. This bench was very ornate. It looked hand-carved and polished, and it was all swirls, and it was gorgeous. And as soon as I sat down, it morphed around me. Like it became whatever my body was. And he sat down next to me. I never did look at him. People ask me that all the time. What did he look like? And I did not turn and look at him because, number one, I didn't feel like I was supposed to. Number two, I was really afraid of what I would see. He's been dead for a year. I didn't want to look. He told me he was going to answer any questions I had, but he told it to me in my head. It was telepathic.
He told me he was going to answer any questions I had, but he told it to me in my head. It was telepathic. It was telepathic.
After that, it was just, the information was just fed into me. And it's almost like it was familiar. Like, I've been here before. There were 3 orbs in the sky. I'm going to call them violet color, but it wasn't really violet. And the way they were moving in proximity to each other, it was some sort of a calendar that was marking the passage of time. So why was I trying to mark the passage of time? I asked that, and it was explained to me that I would have to remember it in linear terms in order to decipher the information that I was given. And it turned out that it was in linear terms 2 weeks that I sat there and got this information. I was told that I could stay there if I wanted to, or I could choose to come back, and he was going to help me make that decision by answering any questions I had. He said, if you do decide to stay, you're going to follow this path to the mountains, and you will go over the mountains. And once you're over the mountains, you will stay. You can't go back. So I sat there asking questions and getting answers for 2 weeks. In the distance, I saw other people. I saw animals. All the people were paired up with someone else. I asked why, and he said, well, so are you. I mean, they can see you, and you're sitting here with me. And I said, they're all young. They're all like 18 years old. And at the time, I was 28. And I had chipped nail polish on my fingers, and I thought, oh, I probably have a burn on my hand from the lightning. So I looked at my hand. It was perfect. It was like I was 18. There was nothing. My nails looked perfect. There were no age spots, nothing. The skin was perfect. The odd thing was there was no wedding ring. And I didn't understand that. And he said, well, we can talk about that if you want. And I said, no, not yet. I had other questions that apparently were more pressing for me. He told me that if I came back, I was going to have a 3rd child, and it was going to be a girl. I wanted to know how he knew that. He said, because she's already chosen you. She's already chosen you and your husband as her parents. When he said that, it was kind of like, well, gosh, then I better be there. And he said, no, it's not a big deal. If you're not there, she'll choose someone else. And that really made me like, no, if she picked me, then she's mine, and I want to meet her. He also told me that I would be getting a divorce, which was really strange because at that point we had been married for 8 years. We were fine. We were happy. There was no reason to think that we would be getting divorced. And in fact, we did get divorced, but it took another 9 years. I also thought, well, if we do get divorced, I want to be the one to raise the boys and this daughter, if I have a daughter. I decided I would come back. He said, okay, I have to let you know that there's going to be a lot of physical pain involved because, first of all, I have to get you back into your body. When you left your body, your soul expanded, and it's much larger than the body. And I have to squeeze you back in, and your body is burned, so there will be pain. He told me a couple of things about the future. He told me about the upcoming Super Bowl. I had never even watched a Super Bowl. He also told me that George H.W. Bush was going to win the election. Now, this was September, and the election was in November. I was not a political person, and I didn't care. So I said, why are you telling me these things? And he said, because when you get back, you're going to have a hard time remembering what we talked about and what you were told. When you see who wins that Super Bowl, or you see that George Bush is named president, it'll trigger your memories of being here. And I was like, okay, all right. So he helped me back into my body. He was like hugging me, like squeezing me. It was like bone-crushingly tight. And I opened my eyes, and I'm lying in the rain in the parking lot, and I realized it had probably been, I don't know, 2 minutes, maybe. Yet I knew I had been somewhere for 2 weeks, and people were just starting to come outside to help me. When I was in the garden, that was heaven. I don't know what was on the other side of the mountains, but I also understood that all the people that I saw there were not seeing a garden. Each one of them was seeing what their version of heaven was. That guy over there may have been an Olympic swimmer, and maybe he felt he was in a swimming pool. Maybe that one over there thought they were on a beach. We were all in the same place, heaven, but heaven was tailored to each one of us. It was very personal. So I was back, and I was burned. I did not feel like I was the same person, and my husband definitely sensed that something was different. I had to spend several months in bed because my feet were so burned. So I slept a lot. As I was sleeping, I was having dreams. These dreams were very specific, and I remembered details. Not only did I remember the details, they were all bad dreams. They were nightmares of terrible events, tsunamis and earthquakes and plane crashes and horrible, horrible things. The first plane crash nightmare I had, I told my husband, I said, I saw this plane and it's crashed and it's in water, and I told him the flight number, and I told him how many people are on the plane. And he was pretty freaked out. So I called my mom, and I told her. And 2 days later, Mom called me, and she was screaming, turn on the TV. And I turned it on. There it is.
Jay and Sarah, thank you very much. Jim Dolan has been following the recovery effort since Flight 800 crashed last night.
And I turn it on. There it is. Jay and Sarah, thank you very much. Jim Dolan has been following the recovery effort since Flight 800 crashed last night.
Graduations are times for making memories. These graduates were crossing over into the next journey of their life. This was supposed to be a time for kindergartners to be promoted to the first grade, but it turned into this fight. This video circulating online shows children breaking off into a fight during a graduation at Buckley Carpenter Elementary School.
And kids, that was an exciting day for them to be graduating kindergarten and, you know, starting to be a big kid, and something like that happened is so sad. So sad for them.
I was expecting more there from like a
high school graduation. I didn't think it would be like at a elementary school, so that just threw me off guard.
Fayette County Sheriff said that this all began as an argument between several adults on the bleachers after graduation. The argument ended with 10 to 12 adults and juveniles getting into a fight at the graduation. Sheriff arrested 3 people, Dontavius Gilcrease, along with a mother and daughter, Rhonda Humphrey and Taisha Humphrey. Fox 13 has learned as a result of Taisha's actions, a child suffered injuries to their face and head.
A woman who was sexually abused by her Northwest Suburban High School teacher and other advocates say a legal loophole in Illinois law leaves older high school students vulnerable.
CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey joins us live from the newsroom. Megan, it has to do with pressing criminal charges.
Right, Jim and Marie, plenty of high school seniors are 18 years old, some even older. But as it stands now in Illinois, if they're being sexually abused by a teacher or other staff member, there's no way to press charges.
We suddenly realized how much we were harmed by this.
Faith Colson was a junior at Schaumburg High School in the early 2000s when her physics teacher began grooming and then sexually abusing her when she was 17. The teacher was ultimately prosecuted and convicted, but Colson tells me her age played a crucial role.
You know, I turned 18 in January of my senior year, and so if this teacher would have groomed me while I was 17 and waited until my 18th birthday to touch me, I would have had no recourse.
In Illinois, teachers can be fired for having sexual relationships with students, but if the student is over 18, they can't be charged criminally.
It's arbitrary to say that suddenly a student can consent to sex when they turn 18 when they can't consent to not going to school.
Colson argues that without criminal charges on his or her record, a sexually abusive teacher may be able to easily find another job working with kids. Dan Vosnos agrees, but he's advocating for a specific population that's impacted.
And like I said, everything here is free and everything's like 99% volunteer run.
The executive director of Unique Learners Unite, who gave me a tour of Gigi's Playhouse in Hoffman Estates, which provides programming for individuals with Down syndrome, points out that
but individuals with disabilities can be in school between the ages of 18 and 22 in Illinois. And some of these kids are cognitively and developmentally delayed, so they don't really understand when that line is being crossed.
Both Vosnos and Colson are in support of legislation that would criminalize sexual relations between teachers and students aged 18 to 23.
These individuals are left unprotected.
A recent bill that would do just that sailed through the House, but is now sitting in the Senate. These advocates say one way or another they're determined to see this loophole closed.
Students, to have any chance of a future, are required to have a high school graduation, and they need to be safe until they have that diploma.
The death of Iran's president, Ibrahim Raisi, in a helicopter crash on Sunday is not expected to have a major impact on Iran's ruling system or its policies, either domestic or international. That's because while he was the elected president of Iran, most power in the country is concentrated in the hands of the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. It's the supreme leader who has the final say on all major policies. He leads the military and the powerful Revolutionary Guard, and he appoints half the members of a clerical body that vets all candidates for public office in Iran. So in that way, the supreme leader is really able to shape the overall ruling system and its policies. Now, where Raisi's death could have a major impact is when it comes to the succession for the supreme leader, who is currently 85 years old. Raisi and the supreme leader's own son, Mujtaba Khamenei, were widely seen as the main candidates to succeed him. Now that Raisi has passed away, Mujtaba would now be seen as the main candidate, and that raises profound questions for the Islamic Republic, which has always presented itself as an alternative to monarchical rule.
Upstairs at like 8 a.m. this morning, and everything was fine after that. And then Mom was like, "Hey, there's sirens going off in Bridgewater. We may have to go back downstairs soon." And of course we did. And I thought it was going to pass like it did before, but then it got super, super loud, and my mom dragged me to the corner to make sure we were fine. And then it got really, really loud, and we thought we lost our house, but we were lucky. But like everyone else is not so much.
Like my brother Cody, his house just got wiped and his girlfriend got stuck, but she's okay now. But it was really bad. But then you see all these people out here helping each other. It's community. Everything's gonna be fine because we have each other, but it's just gonna be really, really rough. It is a mess. And we're only like 2-3 hours into pickup. You never ever think it's going to happen to you. You see other people happen and you feel so terrible, but then you go, at least it wasn't me, and we're okay. And then it happens to you. And then you've lost so much. Your family is out of a place to stay. Or some are lucky and just have a few busted windows like me and my family. But it's just crazy to see your hometown like this.